and on business, depending on the business you're in. And I actually had a meeting with the GDPs this morning. It was our monthly meeting. And hearing their perspectives was very interesting as far as the projects they're working on, how working 5 days a week, remote, right, has been a change for them. In particular, the sales track, because some of the sales track folks had to go remote, and they're servicing customers from their apartments or their homes, which I found to be interesting, right? And they're finding both value in it, right, as well as challenges, right, versus usually facing off against a customer nose to nose, so to speak. A lot of things, right, that we thought were going to happen with technology 3, 4, 5 years from now have now been expedited.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of told the team, you know, this is good training ground for us, right, as how the future might look. It's just appearing more quickly than we thought. Obviously expedited by something that was unknown to us, right, or unforeseen. So there's a lot of people that think at the center of it, meaning the center office and the back office, project managers, that we're actually more productive and efficient because of work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Less of a commute, especially in the tri-state. So it's interesting times. I hope everybody's families are and friends are healthy and well. So I'm going to
yours too, Barth.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen right now for you guys. You know, the faculty, you guys have seen this presentation, so I know it's becoming repetitive as far as watching a rerun, but I'll change it up as much as I can.
Okay, and the best way to view this presentation is to put it on speaker mode, speaker view, so you can see Barth and you can see his slides. And I'm also recording the presentation just to let you know in case any of our students missed it. So I'm going to hand it over to Barth, who so graciously agreed to do this. Thank you, Barth.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I just want the students to introduce themselves, what major, what year, and how many students do we have on?
It looks like we have about 15 students right now.
Fantastic. You absolutely killed Ithaca.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to go around the room and kind of get introductions, what year, your major, right? And if you had an internship for this coming summer, right, where you're at with it, right? Because obviously right now those are TBDs in a lot of ways. So why don't we start with Emily?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a junior accounting major.
Okay, thank you.
Emily, you have an internship.
My tax internship ended yesterday.
Okay. And where was it?
At Sobelco.
Right, okay.
Okay. Jeremiah's, did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, you pronounced it right.
Yeah,
I'm a staff member, but I'm happy I still look like a student.
Oh yeah, well you got to
Go to his
introduce
head.
yourself anyway, because you're a new staff member.
Yeah, I'm the manager of social media and communications for Silberman.
Oh, fantastic. I might have to get some best practices from you.
Send me an email.
Faculty, do you guys want to introduce yourself?
They can, sure. When you get to them, sure.
Okay. All right, who's next? Let me get the big screen on if I can. All right, whoever's next, because I can only see a few.
All right, I can see them. Matt Corbett, why don't you go next?
I'm Matt. I'm a junior finance major, and I actually have an internship this summer with Hsbc doing commercial banking.
All right, Matt, you and I have spoken, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
That's okay.
I don't think we have.
Well, maybe when you get to HSBC, we will.
Okay.
Awesome. Pat Koza? Pat's got to take his mute, unmute. Let me see if I can unmute. him.
Okay.
Okay.
And I've been doing this for a month now. You'd think I'd have figured it out. Okay. For those that do not know me, Pat Koza in the wealth management curriculum at the university, and very proudly 29 years just about with HSBC. In fact, my new claim to fame, Barth, is I can say that I helped train Noel Quinn.
Oh.
Right.
But what that really means is I'm old.
Well, you should definitely continue to brag about that.
That's awesome. Paige, you're up next.
Paige Sultano. I actually work with Mary and Pat in placement on the Metro campus.
Oh, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
I like the skyline.
Neil, you're up next.
So I'm Neil. I'm a first semester senior finance major. I had an internship at Merrill Lynch in Short Hills for the past year, and we're going to apply to stuff for the summer also with HSBC.
Oh, you are going to be with HSBC this summer?
I'm applying to, yeah. So looking for something.
Okay.
He's a good one, Barth.
Thanks.
All right.
Cole, you're next.
Hi, my name's Cole Gregan. I'm a junior finance major, and this upcoming summer, I have an internship at Merrill Lynch in wealth management.
Okay, cool.
Johnny Jimenez. Johnny, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hi, my name is Johnny Jimenez. I'm a senior at FDU, majoring in finance. I'm also on the 4+1 program, so I'm getting my master's with a concentration in finance as well next May. And I actually just finished my internship 2 weeks ago with Zimmer Biomet, the pharmaceutical and medical device company. I was a finance intern there.
Awesome. Joanna?
Hi guys, I'm Joanna. I'm a freshman and my major is finance.
Hey, we got a freshman in the house. Great.
Emmanuel.
Emanuela.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Emanuela. I'm a grad student, MBA International Business and Finance. I'm a GA and I'm looking for like a full-time job opportunity.
Okay.
Going to different places.
All
Awesome.
right, cool.
Miami?
I think you mean Mia.
Mia, sorry.
I'm a junior business administration major. I interned with a nonprofit last summer, so I'm looking for one for this summer.
And Mia, you're a junior?
Yep.
Awesome. Angie? Angie?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi, I'm Angie. I'm actually like an incoming freshman and I want to study business.
Oh, well, we're so happy you're joining us.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Thank you.
Welcome. Ashley? Oh, Ashley's video and sound aren't working, but she's a freshman finance major. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Oh, no, that was Ashley. Angie. Ashley's mic is not working.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why maybe Angie's mic is not working either. Jasper.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasper. I'm a freshman and I'm studying finance and I'm supposed to have a internship at Connect One Bank next month.
That's terrific, Jasper.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Okay, great.
If missed anybody, introduce yourself. If not, we'll catch you later.
All right, so I'm Barth Frank. I am the Senior Manager of the Graduate Development Programs for Retail Banking and Wealth Management at HSBC. And I've been with the corporation almost 20 years in various roles within retail banking and wealth management, including financial advisor, branch manager, area manager, market manager, and now program manager. What I'm going to take you through today is a presentation of the Retail Banking and Wealth Management graduate program, including the internship program. I'll also cover the bank in general, right? And cover the 4 business lines that comprise the bank. of which each of those business lines has its own graduate program. Couple things, right, as you went around for introductions. First and foremost, at this point, all our applications for the summer internship have been fulfilled, okay, and it's closed across all 4 business lines. Obviously, we're working on contingency plans depending on how the COVID crisis unfolds and develops. For upperclassmen, right, we usually open up our applications between August 1st and August 15th for the graduate program. So we use the internship program as a stepping stone. So some of our interns will get offers, right, at the end of the summer to come back to our graduate program following their senior year. But most of the time there are openings that still remain to be filled in the graduate program that you can apply to beginning around mid-August. You are only able to apply to one of the business lines graduate programs at a time. And from there, you go through a heavy selection process, screening process, testing process. And if you pass all those hurdles, you move on to final super days or final panel interviews. And from there, decisions are made. Depending on the business line, anywhere between November and March, there are panel interviews. So HSBC's been around, right, since 1865. We were founded as a trade bank, okay, between London and Hong Kong. So our first charter bank was in Hong Kong. And that's the history that's come to full present mode of how important HSBC is globally, particularly in Asia and Hong Kong. Our logo appears on the money in Hong Kong. We are the 2nd largest bank internationally, and depending on the day, we are the 10th or 11th largest bank in the United States. So the 4 business lines that comprise us are retail banking and wealth management, commercial banking, private banking, and global banking and markets, which is more or less trading and investment banking. So I'm going to start to take you through the graduate program, all right, for retail banking and wealth management. So it's an intensive 2-year rotational program. There's 4 rotations comprised of 6 months each. Currently, under the one graduate umbrella for retail banking and wealth management, we have 2 career tracks. One's called a Global Generalist Program, which is recognized globally from country to country, and the other is our domestic sales track. Now, and I mentioned this to Mary and Patricia in an email, our sales track, this will be our last class for our sales track under the graduate program. What we're doing is we're changing our strategy to recruit college and university students direct to our personal banker roles where we have openings within our branch network and contact centers. We're not going to utilize the graduate team or headcount for the sales roles, right? We're going to recruit direct to the roles where there'll be training within the network.
We need to worry about the object code. It's just the middle 6 numbers to be identified.
Someone in?
Just look over what you've entered. If everything seems okay, just click save.
Ron, is your phone on mute?
We have now entered our first expense. For our next example,
Hold on. I'll mute Ron. Okay, we should be good.
All right, he's good now. Okay.
I muted him.
No, that's okay. So you're in the program, whether you're on Generalist Sales Track, you gain valuable experience with our retail network, our multi-channel network, meaning our digital capabilities and our corporate environments. And you go through some heavy-duty training, whether that's securities licensing training, classroom training, or formal work assignments and project work. Obviously, different extremes within the different tracks. So just a bit of advice, whatever project or whatever role you embark on in the business world, you should always have a program, purpose, and mission. So ours is we want to attract, hire, and develop empowered, diverse individuals in a team-oriented leadership development program through our business rotations, classroom training, individualized coaching, and leadership opportunities. I'm not going to read the rest of the bullet points, right? But we're aligning both our career tracks within the program to building a future talent pool of leaders, both on the front line and the back line, with both technical skills and people-oriented management skills. So let me take you through what the sales track might look like for those that did internships in wealth management in places like Merrill Lynch. It might look similar to you. So this is an 18 to 24 month program. First rotation, you get your licenses, life, accident, health. Then you go into 2 banker rotations as a personal banker and a premier relationship manager. And then you go to the brokerage side, utilizing your licenses and helping customers not only with bank side service and issues and solutions, but also helping them collaborate with their financial advisor on how to better manage their money, right? Protect their families and grow their portfolios. Through the sales track, we want to develop the skills needed to identify opportunities to profile and cross-sell various financial tools, solutions, and services, right? To broaden our client relationships and obviously our market share. So here are the rotations in order, right? So this is the last class. In fact, last week, we had 2 of our folks in the sales track in San Francisco finish their grad program on the sales track, and they were each placed in permanent roles in the San Francisco area. So one on the brokerage side and one on the bank side. And we're excited that we will continue to build out our alumni base with them landing in permanent roles. So that's the sales track, right? I'm just going to save questions for later, right? But let me get to the generalist track. So the generalist track is more a center and back office program. You could do rotations within the branch network or branch network strategy and administration team, business strategy, customer relationship management, product and pricing, brokerage and wealth, business performance, customer experience, mortgage, credit cards, insurance, risk and compliance, and digital, which is becoming obviously in banking and brokerage ever more important, expedited by the COVID crisis. So basically what we want to accomplish within the Global Generalist Program is to be as consistent as possible country to country. So a few years ago, the major countries that run graduate programs for HSBC got together and we built out a plan for how the graduate program should look. We want to make it as consistent as possible. Global generalists who enter into the graduate program the last 4 years have gone to London for at least, depending on your business line, 1 week of induction. Now, obviously, that most likely is not happening this year because of the COVID crisis, so we're thinking of other solutions as far as induction. So moving on to the next slide, right? I always say that the graduate development program has its own, right, what we say, culture within a culture. Within the program, the GDPs take on leadership roles within the following committees: recruitment, resourcing and onboarding, community service, communications, newsletters and events, Rosetta Stone, the Alumni Association, right, My Learning, right, recognition, sports, social, health and wellness, and the Mentorship Committee. If you go back to slide 7, right, this is where it ties in to both the teams you're assigned to on your various 6-month rotations, as well as on slide 8, your responsibilities from a GDP team perspective, because the GDPs drive a lot themselves. And these committees are very important for the bank and for retail banking wealth management as far as facilitating ideas, initiatives, events, right, tied to the basic themes. Within your rotations and on these committees, you'll learn more about customer service, employee engagement, customer service, the customer experience and sales, strategy. You'll learn about risk and compliance, because in your rotations, everything's tied to risk and compliance. Anything we roll out to customers or employees, risk and compliance or legal usually have to take a look at it. So you'll touch these people in your rotations who are partners, right, in those various supporting functions. So the 4 business lines I mentioned are all supported by supporting functions like legal, compliance, risk, human resources, audit. So there are people, right, that as they advance in their career do go to the functions to further enhance their skill and knowledge. Right, so like my boss, who's in retail banking and wealth management now, supported retail banking and wealth management previously in a role in crime and risk. So anything you deal with financial services, right, crime and risk, right, and Pat knows this, is utmost important. So that's part of the learning, obviously, in addition to what you're learning leading on these initiatives and committees, as well as in your various rotations. When you come into the program, you're given a mentor. So a senior manager who volunteers to be a mentor for a GDP, you'll have a GDP at least for the first year in the mentor, the first year in the program, if not longer. You could have multiple mentors, but that's someone you could bounce things off of, talk to, right? You'll also be given a buddy, right, who helps you, especially those first 90 days, get on board. And you can take on a licensing in our Rosetta Stone program if you want to learn a second or a third or fourth language. We have our own newsletter that we send out to the business, usually every 4 or 5 months, detailing what we're doing as a GDP team. Community service. So we have 2 offices, both in Buffalo and New York, as our corporate offices for retail banking and wealth management. So we do have trainees in Buffalo, and we do drive and facilitate a lot of community service events in and around our local communities in the New York tri-state, as well as the Buffalo metropolitan area. Our alumni base continues to grow with each and every class that gets placed in roles within the front line or back line within retail banking and wealth management. And to see over the last 5 years how many alumni that are working and contributing and making a difference, right, that have come out of the program, right, has been very rewarding for the management team as well as myself. We have a My Learning in campus, an HSBC campus. So there's mandatory learning you have to take as an employee, as a trainee, but there's also an open campus where you can go sign up for various project management skill courses, Excel skill courses, public speaking courses, as an example. And these could be either WebEx or Classroom, right? We also have a recognition point system where we recognize each other, right? We recognize our managers and our colleagues that have made a difference in the business and in our development as graduate trainees. And those points are used at the HSBC store to buy some good stuff at a discount. And then we created the Sports, Social, Health, and Wellness, ERG, where we have soccer teams, bowling teams, right? Special events, right? We might just have a special event on one day, thing tied to spin or tied to mental health and wellness, where there might be a speaker who comes to speak to us about work-life balance, right? So I mentioned mentorship. as far as the committees, right, they're also tied to a lot of our employee resource groups. Now, on campuses at Fairleigh Dickinson, you have student resource groups that probably are similar in nature, right? You have your women's employee resource group, right? Building our future leaders, talking to women business leaders. You might have African American, Latin American, right? And they all work hand in hand on hosting events, right? Driving our diversity and our diverse ideas. Because as a global bank, right, in over 65 countries, our employee resource groups are ever important. And many of the chairmen and treasurers and secretaries that are on the boards of these employee resource groups at HSBC came out of the GDP programs. One in particular that was created out of the retail banking program is an ERG we call Why Not, which is a millennial driven and led ERG. A few years ago, we got together as a group and we thought under the RBWM GDP team, some of the trainees felt that millennials were being misunderstood and that they wanted to connect the generations. Me being from Generation X, or the ambiguous generation, right? To the millennial generation as an example. And Why Not, in particular during the COVID crisis, has been driving a lot of stuff as far as mental health, wellness, work-life balance, utilization of technology. So Why Not's entering, this is their 6th year, and now we have chapters within our branch and office footprint, coast to coast, and over 2,000 members. So now I'm going to get to the internship. Like I said, we use the internship as a stepping stone into the program. You're given an assignment. You go through the same interview process that I had mentioned for the graduate program. The internship opportunities is for juniors, right? Who that summer will be rising seniors. And the application for this along all 4 business lines opens as well at the same time as the graduate program. And the stepping stone we use, right, as a try-on for you and a try-on for us. Meaning we'll get feedback on your performance from your assigned team and manager, as well as you'll get a feel for HSBC as an organization if it's somewhere where you want to work, and if that's the business line that you want to remain in. For me, retail banking and wealth management, you have to have a desire to be in that world. You have to have a desire to help the individual customer with their checking, their savings, their credit card, right? Their digital banking, 529 college savings, mortgage, lines of credit if they own a small business, loans, right? So these are the many parts of retail banking and wealth management. It is a different business than commercial banking, private banking, and global banking and markets. And during the interview process, right, the recruiter and the panelists are uncovering if you have that true desire, right? And this goes for any organization that you're considering. I would give you my best advice is don't go to the organization. Go to the business line within the organization that you really want to be in. Because you don't want to waste a summer or a couple years, right, within a business line that you really truly don't have an interest in. Now, some are interested in global banking and markets, investment banking and trading. Some are interested in commercial and corporate banking. Some are interested in higher affluential banking, private banking, right? Helping rich business owners, wealthy individuals, right? And then there's retail banking, right? Which is our premier customer base as well as our advanced customer base. And that is changing rapidly. And like I said earlier on in the presentation, it's been expedited with the COVID crisis on how we providing solutions to customers, both utilizing brick and mortar with our branches and multi-channel over the phone, digitally, using the computer, right, in servicing our customers, right, and providing to their needs. So the last slide, just more about the internship. It enhances our relationship, right, with universities. It leverages formal on-the-job training, although be it in a short period of time, to get you, to give you a feel for what the GDP program is like. And this goes for all the business lines, right? The internship is a heavy dose of hands-on training, as well as formal training and networking, right? We do try to enjoy ourselves over the summer as well with networking events, volunteer events, and excursions to business-led areas. So I'm now going to start the engagement piece. So I really want you guys to be engaged. As the faculty who've seen me present in person on the phone know, I like to walk around and flap my hands and talk a lot, right, as I'm walking around the room, right, to get the vibe. So it's funny, I was telling the GDPs this morning, they asked me how the tracks have been going virtually. And I told them both the benefits, right, and the downside. So I really want you guys engaged as if we were all sitting in a room, right? Not only with your questions and answers, but engaging me as I ask you guys some questions. So you guys, if you want to answer, just put your microphone on mute. But before the COVID crisis, who was the last person, when was the last time you were in a branch? Hello? Anybody? Was
Probably
anybody?
like a year ago, honestly.
Yeah, was anybody in a branch in February?
No, not I.
Was anybody in a branch in January?
No.
Okay, so I guess I get the theme with hands in the room, right? But probably from the lack of answers, I'll assume not many people have gone to a branch, right? You might be in touch with a personal banker or an advisor at a branch, right? Where your family might be or friends might be, but that's how the world was changing before COVID, right? Now COVID's come and it's kind of made our customer-facing folks, right, have to change gears. The good thing is many of our customers are at home and want to talk, right? And talk about their finances, especially now. And they need us now more than ever. But what was going to happen was, as digital capabilities, right, on the phone and computer for banking have changed, especially from simple servicing, right? Branches, and not just HSBC, this goes for all, right, big banks, right, that have a branch network. If you walk into a branch today of any major bank, you don't have as many teller windows, right? But you still have the advisors on the floor. Because when it comes to hardcore decisions about buying a home, financial planning, wealth management, retirement planning, insurance, 529 plans, it's still very important for customers to see a human live. Because they might have different situations, different scenarios in their personal and family lives, right, that need to be addressed by the expert they're speaking to. On the other hand, simple transactions where teller lines were out the door years ago now can be done online. Well, a lot of that within the program is addressed on your rotations on how are we helping the front line and our customers be as efficient as possible. Because we're still a business, right? A business that wants to make money, gain market share, and have happy customers. I used to have a colleague who used to say HSBC stands for Happy, Satisfied Banking Customers. And that is the objective. And now it's been expedited by COVID. And people are realizing, wow, it's here. We can do this. We never realized we can do that and make the customer happy. And on project management and project analyst roles within the program that you might go on, you're working on these work streams to transform the bank. There's even rotations within transformation, right? Your second year, where you'll learn an entirely different skill set as far as project management and analysis. Now, some of our generalists have realized they want to go to the front line. So during your final rotation, you can get your Series 763 and enter into a role right back on the front line, if that's the path you want to take as far as customer facing. So I assume everybody on the phone really banks online or banks on their computer. So this is the world. It's a very exciting time for retail banking and wealth management, albeit now a very challenging time with COVID. There's a lot of, what can we say, sexy stuff that we're bringing to our customers, right, to make their lives easier from a servicing standpoint, product standpoint, solution standpoint. And this is what the graduate trainees are working on. And the other three business lines as well. It's a digital age for them, for commercial banking, right? Global banking and markets and private banking. So what's unfolded is now also retail banking and wealth management and the private bank are becoming one entity. So we're now going to be called wealth and personal banking. That drives more to efficiency, our wealth and banking platforms, and our digital capabilities. So that's exciting for us as a corporation worldwide. And it was announced on February 18 at our investors update.
Barth, can you repeat that one more time?
So retail banking and wealth management and private bank are now going to be one entity called wealth and personal banking. The private banking piece, right, will still remain as a dotted line under the umbrella because it's a different proposition, but all encompassing is one unit, right? We're going to operate and try to be as consistent with our platforms, meaning our technology, right? The way we service customers, product offering, the digital capabilities. So this is an exciting embarkment for us, both from a personal banking and a wealth management perspective. And the strategy around that is continuously unfolding, but that was announced at the February 18th Investor Day. Now, obviously, since COVID happened, there's been other announcements as far as kind of a halt on our new strategy and restructuring, because at this point we want to concentrate and get through the crisis first. So there'll be a lot of opportunity with any of these programs, right? If you were to apply. There's also entry-level roles that you could apply to as well, if it's not a graduate program, in any of the functions or 4 business lines. What people like about the graduate program is it enables them to feel out the different areas of the business and the bank to see what might interest them as a first so-called permanent role that they want to take, right, to start their careers. But GDPs globally and domestically are looked on as the future leaders of the organization. And we've had much progress with them over the last 7-8 years as far as their personal progression to higher roles and additional responsibilities. So I'm going to end it there. I'm going to open it up. Well, actually, I want to give that my usual homework assignment. Okay. So a history of HSBC, right? HSBC coming to the United States, they bought Marine Midland Bank upstate. They bought Republic Bank, more or less downstate, to create a larger presence in the United States. And that's why we have two offices, both in Buffalo, where Marine Midland's corporate offices were, and in New York at 452 Fifth Avenue. Now, the founder of Republic Bank, you could write his name down, is Edmund Safra. S-A-F-R-A. He's probably one of the greatest financiers of the 20th century, came to this country basically with nothing, and started Republic Bank. Okay, which became a very successful bank in the New York metropolitan area in specific, right? And ultimately was bought by HSBC in 1999. And much of our history still stems back to Republic, right? As far as how we service our customers here. And Edmund Safra used to visit every floor of the HSBC Tower on Fifth Avenue. And if you guys look him up on Wikipedia, you could read about his life, which is just unbelievable. They'll make a movie someday about it. And that's your homework assignment as far as looking him up and reading about him. So I'll open it up to questions, suggestions, answers, concerns from everybody.
Barth, did you work for his bank, Republic?
No, I came probably a year and a half after the merger. But I worked with many of the old guard, the Republic bankers. And many are still senior executives today.
Don't be shy.
I'll ask questions for them because they're shy. How many?
Don't be shy.
Typically, what is your incoming internship class, size-wise?
Anywhere between 16 and 20 for the retail banking and wealth management. Global banking and markets is usually upwards of high 40s altogether. Commercial bank, which comprises 5 cities, mine does 2. Global banking and markets is New York City centric. Commercial banking could be in the mid-20s internship wise. Private bank's a little smaller, 4 to 6.
And Barth, do you know the status on the internships?
So as of now, we're discussing, there's going to be a delay depending on how COVID starts. So we're talking about some dates that might push it back, the start date, as well as other contingencies. But it all really depends on how we all feel, right? Depends on where the interns might be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And this is global in nature. So we're trying to be as globally consistent as possible while understanding that domestically, country to country, everyone's going through a different phase within the crisis. But I think within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a definitive game plan. Not that we don't right now, it's just contingencies that are on the table.
Okay, so you're right now, you're thinking delayed start.
Correct. Now, I know some banks have other plans where some banks have heard or other industries have canceled. Some have delayed as well with other contingencies, maybe around virtual. So, you know, I hear different things every day as far as other industries and other financial services institutions. It's a lot of moving parts. As you can imagine, I'm on calls pretty much daily discussing it.
I know. Barclays is delayed. ACO, who's owned by Goldman Sachs, is delayed, but they're still, as of today, planning on going forward. But there's plans, like you said.
That's our game plan as well.
Good.
Any other questions? Students, come on.
Now's your chance to make an impression on Barth and to stand out.
Barth, for the, I know for the incoming internships, it's really for juniors approaching their senior year. I'm just trying to integrate that with our 4+1 program. Is it truly juniors or is it those headed into their penultimate year?
For the most part, we don't really look at MBAs. I am flexible with the 4+1 programs though, as far as my program. If it's a 2-year MBA, it doesn't make sense. If it's a 4+1, now a lot of the 4+1s, sometimes they'll enter during their 4th year as, right, as an intern.
It depends.
Yeah, so when that crosses the recruiter's desk, they know to call me. And I'll call the student, or the recruiter will call the student to get a better idea of the timing. But I have had 4+1s as both interns and graduate trainees.
Okay. Yeah, because they could work full time while doing their last year if they wanted to.
Right, and you know, I've had students who just graduate and then they go get their MBA at night on an expedited program.
Barth, we have a couple of super high achieving freshmen, and we even have a incoming freshman. What advice would you give to them so they can, be doing what they need to be doing in order to apply for HSBC when they're juniors? What advice can you give to them?
I would say take as many internship possibilities you can, even if it's at a local all-state agent. Right? You'll learn a lot about business and people and sales if you want to be in financial services. Also, work with FDU on corporations that provide internships or small businesses that provide internships to underclassmen. We don't have an early experience program, meaning we don't have internship programs for freshmen and sophomore. Investment banking did start one last year. I think you have to be a sophomore.
Okay.
We haven't developed it further than that. But my best advice is get serious as fast as you can around your internships. I know sometimes freshman, sophomore year, you still want to do your summer jobs, right? And that's great. And it's great to let your hair down a little bit, but understand how powerful your resume will look if they see you have 2 or 3 internships already in business or in finance as you embark on a program internship your junior year. So as far as best advice for the underclassmen, how to utilize their free times is that. Also, if you can do an online internship, I know that's become popular, right? There's corporations out there or vendors out there looking for students that might want to work 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, especially if they have great Excel skills, right, as an intern.
That's great advice. What do you look for an intern? Like, what are the top qualifications, characteristics that you look for?
Yeah, so this for interns and GDPs, you always have to be flexible, dependable, open-minded, think out of the box, be engaging, and ask a lot of questions. I can't tell you enough, and you've heard me say this, don't ever bring a project to a manager, right, without asking for more, right? And without asking or providing more direction, valid questions, and where you think that project should go next. I can't tell you enough. That's the most consistent feedback I get from rotation managers, right? They don't ask enough questions. They're doing a great job. They don't come up with new ideas. So it's always they deliver, but it's beyond delivering. You're considered the future leaders of the organization, right? As a graduate intern or a graduate trainee. And you have to think out of the box. Not all senior managers have answers to everything. That's why they look to their team, especially millennials, as we transform the businesses, right? Millennials come with a different background from a technology standpoint, right? A viewpoint as how processes work. So we want to hear from you. And I often lean on the GDPs, right, coming from the X generation, to hear their ideas, right, from a efficiency, process related, people related perspective. If you're sitting there quiet, they're going to think you're not engaged. Perception is reality.
Good
Barth,
point.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
What do you think is like the steepest learning curve for interns, just generally?
Probably understanding the corporate environment, right? You're coming from an academic, very social, right, university world where you act professional, right, as a student, but sometimes the interns get lost in when they need to speak up, right? And they don't. More to my previous point. And you kind of have to come out of your shell in that new environment and follow what I said as far as delivering above and beyond, right? Asking a lot of questions, being engaging, and providing your opinions and ideas. So when you provide opinions and ideas, no matter what job you have, whether it's an intern or as a senior manager, everybody knows in the room you're engaged. And number one, you care.
Thank you.
Right? You know, I manage the program because I care about my graduate trainees. I care about the program. And most of all, I want the bank and retail banking and wealth management to win. So I have a lot of athletes from the colleges and universities who are interns and trainees who understand that perspective as well. Although be it a little different, their transition sometimes is a little easier, right? Because they sense the team environment. And the best thing about HSBC is we empower the individual as long as it's compliant, right, and legal. Meaning we want to hear your ideas and run with them, right? As long as your managers have buy-in. Did I answer your question?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Sure. Use it this summer, Matt.
Of course.
Matt, you're going to have to connect with Barth when you start.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, Mary, that was my other question that you asked. So thank you.
Oh, sure. Anybody else have any questions? This is your opportunity.
More questions.
I know you said that like to ask a lot of questions. So has there been any people who've done internships that have given any ideas that you guys really went and put through and like maybe created a program or created some kind of department that the internship person came up with the idea and you guys actually went forth with? Are there any examples of that?
Yes, I'll give you a couple. So I mentioned like the why not ERG, right? That actually came out from an idea that a GDP trainee had. You know, she was getting involved. She was in Buffalo in our Balance ERG, which is our women's network ERG. And she was like, okay, you know, this is great. I'm networking with a lot of senior managers, particularly senior women leaders. But what about the future of millennials and younger women, right? Because she felt the generations are kind of misunderstood in her reading, in her engagement, right? So she came to me and said, hey, could we start this here? So it took us around a year because there's a lot of legal and endorsements you need to get from senior management. And ultimately, the CEO of HSBC at the time signed off on it. And from there, we got the word out, right? We held calls, got a couple local events off the ground, and now we have chapters in each city that we're located in. And many of the members are not millennials. They're from other generations. So the point of it is to connect the generations. The other example is, and I won't get too specific, but when you're tracking production and seeing where your business is from a particular product revenue generating standpoint, historically, sometimes that's very manual, depending on how the computer systems are all talking to each other, how the vendors that you're involved with are talking to each other. So I had a trainee come up with an automated tracking sheet, very well versed in Excel, right? Pivot tables, drop downs. So what used to take 5 or 6 days to complete as an updated report now takes 2 hours. And that's where you guys as project managers, based on how you've grown up in a digital world, right, can continue to help us change the bank for ourselves and for our customers. So those are 2 examples that come to mind. If I gave it even more thought, I can come up with others.
Very nice. Thank you.
Sure. Great question.
Keep a watch out for Joanna. She's only a freshman and she's incredible.
Great question. Anybody else? Come on, 1 or 2 more.
1 or 2 more. Come on. Let's see.
So I'll give a little more of a history lesson. So this will be one of many crises that I've been through in my career, right, within financial services. I've been through 2 hurricanes. 1 hurricane hit during graduate program interviews. Okay, so we had a scramble there. Many blizzards as an area manager for the branch network. The financial bubble, technology bubble of 2002, the financial crisis of 2008 and 9, and before 2002, obviously 9/11, right? And now the COVID crisis. And what makes us a great country and a great organization is we always find our way. Because for the most part, people care about those that are around them. They care about their customers, right? And they're in close connection on how we can overcome and connect to make it better. So during this crisis, on each and every call I'm on, we're trying to march on, right? And what will be, but we still have a job to do, right? And we're going to try to do it the best way, most efficient way, under the circumstances that we can. And there will be future crises, and this is all over, that you will, both big and small, that you will come up against during your careers, no matter where you start, no matter where you progress or land, right? My best advice is march on, right? And lean on those around you because they'll be going through the same thing. And help from colleagues is ever so important in those crises. And working together makes it even more positive. So if there's not any final questions, I really look forward to hopefully baseball season, right? Hopefully all of us enjoying the outside the way we want to, right? And if not, doing the best we can in the short term. And the next time, seeing everybody in person, right? Whether on campus or at 330 Madison in Manhattan. So I wish you all well, right? With your studies, your internships. Matt, best of luck. Let's connect once you're on board.
Thank you.
All right, and you guys could write down my email address. It's barth.frank@us.hsbc.com. My phone number is 212-380-6805. And feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Can you repeat your email one more time? I'm sorry.
You know what?
Barth,
I'll put it in the chat.
Barth, BARTH, .frank at us.hsbc.com.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks to you guys, Mary, Patricia, and Pat, for putting it together again. You know, I love getting together with everybody, seeing you
We
guys.
love you too. We love you too. Thank you
Really
so
appreciate
much,
it.
Barth.
Stay
You're
well.
the best.
All right, be well, stay safe, enjoy as much as you can.
You
Thanks
too,
for
and
your
hopefully
time,
we'll see
Barth.
you this summer.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Stop.